Hey everyone, my name is Erica. For those of you who don't know me, I am a coach, a weightlifter, and a yoga teacher, and today I'm bringing you a Flow for Lifters round 2. So our first flow a few weeks ago focused mainly on shoulders and hips, and today has the same focuses along with just general opening throughout your entire body. I designed this to be for active recovery days or just to use on the opposite end of your training. So if you train at night, use this in the morning and vice versa. All you really need is some space to move around and yourself. So if you have a yoga mat, go ahead and set that up where you have some room. Otherwise, I do suggest setting up on carpet just to protect your joints, give yourself a little extra cushion. My only rule is that you need to listen to your body. So if you feel any pain or discomfort and it just doesn't feel like your body should be in that position, back on out of it and don't push through it. Not every pose is for every body, and these are designed to help strengthen and stretch, not cause pain. So when you're all set, let's get this party started. All right, so today we'll get started in Supta Konasana. So soles of your feet come together, knees come out to the sides like a butterfly pose, and then lay all the way back down onto your back. And then place one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And just breathe here. This is a gentle hip opening pose. There's no need to force anything in your legs. Just let gravity slowly start to take your knees towards the floor. And take a couple full breaths here. Inhale, start to bring your left knee up and then bring it all the way over to meet your right. Arms can come out by your sides for a spinal twist here. If your knees don't touch, that's okay. And just breathe. Make sure you keep both shoulder blades on the ground. And maybe bringing your gaze over your left shoulder. Inhale, bring both knees up through center. And exhale, send them to your left. Maybe gazing over the right shoulder now. And again, check in with your shoulder blades. Make sure that both shoulders are still plugged onto your mat. And inhale, just come back to center, knees tented up towards the ceiling. Setting up for bridge pose. So soles of your feet on the floor, about hips width distance apart, arms by your side, and your heels should be pretty close to your booty, so that once you reach through your fingertips, you should be able to raise the back of your heels. Inhale, push up through your glutes, raising your hips towards the ceiling. Keep your feet flat on the floor. And think about squeezing your inner thighs together like you have a block in between them, and you need to keep it there. Inhale, shift your weight into your left foot and raise your right foot towards the ceiling. And do a couple ankle circles in both directions, really squeezing through your left glute to keep your hips raised. And exhale, cross your right ankle over your left thigh, and then squeeze again to keep yourself lifted. You can bring your hands under your hips if that feels a little bit better. And slowly let your right knee, just they are. Slowly lower your back down to the mat. Inhale, reach forward for reclined figure 4. You can reach behind your hamstring and then gently draw your legs back towards your chest. If this is feeling a little intense, let go of your hamstring, let your left foot fall to the floor, and just stay here. You can press your right knee towards the front of the room if that feels good. Or if you're looking for more of a stretch, you can, instead of grabbing for your hamstring, reach for your shin and then melt your torso back down. Make sure you are keeping your shoulders and head on the mat. We don't want to be carrying any tension through our shoulders. Inhale, let go gently of your leg and bring your right foot back down, setting up for bridge pose once again. Inhale, press your hips up towards the ceiling. And this time, shift your weight into your right foot, squeeze your right glute a lot, and lift your left foot up towards the ceiling. And again, doing a couple ankle circles in both directions. And exhale, cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Squeeze your right glute, keep your hips pressing up. Let your left knee fall towards the floor. And exhale, slowly lower down, keeping your foot up. And supine figure 4 on this side. Again, options to stay here and press your left knee towards the front of the room. Or options to reach for your hamstring or shin and draw your legs closer to your chest. Opening up your outer hip and glute. And depending on where you're feeling tight, it'll also get into your hamstrings. And breathe here. Gently release, bring your feet back to the mat. And a little bit of core coming right here. Inhale, bring both feet up towards the ceiling. And while you're here, check in with your lower back. Make sure it's pressing into the mat. Bring your hands up so that they're reaching for the sky as well. Inhale to prepare, and exhale, lower your right hand and left leg to hover over your mat. Inhale, come back up to center, and exhale, lower left arm, right leg. And inhale, back to center. Lower opposite arm, opposite leg. Inhale up. Exhale, lower the opposite. Inhale up. Try to keep the small of your back pressing into the mat this whole time. And you're here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your knees into your chest and just roll side to side, releasing here. And then start to roll up and down your spine until you get enough momentum to roll shoulders. Knees are under your hips. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Inhale, cow pose, drop your belly, raise your gaze. Tailbone points towards the ceiling. And exhale for cat pose, puffing up through your shoulder blades, tucking your hips, looking towards your belly button. Inhale for cow, drop your belly, raise your gaze. And exhale for cat, puffing up through your shoulder blades. And inhale back to neutral tabletop. If those feel good and you want to add a few more, feel free to do so on your own time. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you, 90-degree bend in your knee, and bring your left arm out in front. And exhale, reach back for your foot. And once you have your foot, kick back into your hand. And you'll start to feel a quad stretch here. You'll also start to feel some opening in your shoulder. Think about keeping your shoulders level to the ground or parallel to the ground, so there's not a whole lot of twisting going on. And exhale, slowly release your foot and come back to tabletop. Inhale, left leg lifts, 90-degree bend, right arm comes up. And exhale, reach back. And once you have your foot in your hand, kick back. Breathe here for a moment. And exhale. Come back down, release your foot, knee to the floor. Inhale, push up and back for downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet here, so lifting one heel at a time, sinking one heel towards the mat. Check in with your hands, make sure your fingers are spread wide to take up the most amount of space possible, and that you're pressing into all four corners of your palms. Shoulders draw down your back, and hips reach up towards the ceiling. Come to stillness, and inhale, bend your knees, look to the top of your mat. And exhale, travel forward to meet your hands for ragdoll pose. So feet stay under your hips, bend a lot into your knees, and reach for opposite elbows here. And then just let your torso hang heavy, maybe swaying side to side. And breathe here. Start to reach your hands towards your mat. Walk your feet together, maybe so that your big toes touch. Inhale for halfway lift, flattening out your back. Hands come to shins or thighs. Think about lengthening through the crown of your head. And exhale, forward fold. Fold a little deeper here. Inhale, slowly rise up to stand, mountain pose. Tadasana. Arms by your sides, palms facing forward. Inhale, right arms raise overhead. Think about drawing your shoulders back and down, so you're not reaching with your shoulders, you're reaching with your hands. Staying tall, start to reach your hands back behind you, exhaling. Interlace your fingers, out your hips. Forward fold, bringing your hands up behind you, still together. You can keep your palms together, that's cool. If not, that's all good. Exhale, and inhale, start to come into halfway lift. Hands to shins or thighs, flatten your back. And exhale, hands to the mat, step back, high plank, and lower yourself, knees just chin, all the way down to the floor. Untuck your toes, setting up for locust. Reach your arms by your side, palms can be facing up or down, it does not matter. Exhale all of your breath out. And inhale, lift up everything you can. So chest, feet, knees, your entire posterior chain here should be working and on fire. And exhale, lower back down, bringing your right cheek to the mat. Tuck your toes. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Inhale, press up, high plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look up to in between your hands. And exhale, travel forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise overhead, standing tall. And exhale, hands come behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Inhale, puff up through your chest, opening your heart. And exhale, bend at your knees, hinge at your hips. Hands come up towards the ceiling. Inhale, unwind your hands, come to halfway lift. And exhale, hands to the mat, step back, high plank. And once again, lower yourself all the way to the ground. So you can set up for locust round 2 or for bow pose. I will cue for bow, but locust is also available to you. For bow pose, bend your knees, bringing your feet up, and reach for the tops of both feet. Once you have your feet in your hands, shimmy your knees back together, trying to keep them as close together as possible throughout this whole pose. Exhale all of your air out. And inhale, lift up, kicking up into your hands. You'll notice that maybe as you breathe, you rock a little bit, and that's all good. And exhale, come to the mat, bring your left cheek to the mat this time. Maybe windshield wiper out your feet. And then come to stillness. Tuck your toes, bring your hands under your shoulders. Inhale, push up, high plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Staying here, inhale, right leg lifts. So foot comes up behind you. Check in with your hips. Drop your right hip a little bit. Turn your right pinky toe towards the mat. And exhale, step your foot between your hands. Inhale, warrior 1. Plant your back heel and rise through your torso. Bring your arms up. So, things to think about here. Your back heel is down. Your back toes are pointing off to the side, maybe about 45 degrees. Arms are overhead and hips are facing front. So for self-correction here, bring your hands to your hips, and you'll notice that your hips are most likely facing the left corner of your mat. So with your hands on your hips, start to spin your hips towards the front of the mat, and you'll notice that it feels a little different. And once your hips are facing front, you can bring your hands back overhead. If this feels super uncomfortable, try to walk your right foot out to the side, maybe to the outer edge of your mat, to give yourself a little more space in your hips to be able to move. Staying here, sinking into your front knee. Exhale, bring your hands behind your back, interlacing your fingers. Inhale, puff up, opening your heart and your chest. And exhale, humble warrior, left or right shoulder to right knee. Hands stay together and let your head hang heavy here. Releasing tension. And breathe. Feel this in your shoulders and your hip. And it's a good hamstring activator as well. Inhale, start to rise, coming into high crescent lunge. So back heel comes up, pivots up, and all 10 toes face the front of the room now. Still sinking into your front knee. And exhale, twisted T. Squeeze your inner thighs together and open up to the right. Right arm behind you, left arm in front. And breathe here. Inhale, exalted crescent. Right hand comes to left hamstring. Left arm reaches up and over, gently raising your gaze and maybe your heart towards the ceiling. And exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the mat. Step back, high plank. And you can drop your knees here and go into chaturanga push-up. Inhale for baby cobra or upward facing dog. For upward facing dog, tops of your feet press into the mat. Hips rise off of the mat. And think about keeping your shoulder blades pulling together and down your back and gazing out in front of you. All 4 corners of your palms should be rooted to the ground. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. And exhale, step your foot between your hands. Inhale, warrior 1. Back heel comes down, torso comes up. And same check-in we did on the other side. Back heel is down. Back toes are facing about 45 degrees away from your body. Hips spin forward. So again, bringing your hands to your hips. Check in, maybe moving your left foot out to the side. And once you're settled, arms rise back overhead, sinking into your front knee. And exhale, bring your hands behind you, interlace your fingers. Inhale, puff up through your chest. And exhale, hinge forward, left shoulder to left knee for humble warrior. Again, let your head hang heavy here and sink into this. Feeling your hip and hamstring open. And breathe. Inhale, come up, high crescent lunge. Back heel pivots up. All 10 toes face the front of the room. Try not to fall over like me. And exhale. for balance and to get yourself a little bit more twist. Your hips should stay square to the front of your mat, and the twist should come through your torso and thoracic spine. Inhale, exalted crescent. Left hand comes to right hamstring, and right arm lifts as you look up. And exhale, hands to the mat. Step back, high plank. Hatha push-up, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or baby cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Come to your knees here and take a seat. Moving into one last hip opener here. So this is called cow-faced pose, and we'll start with left leg on top. So bring your right knee down, so your knee is basically right in front of you. Then stack your left knee as close as you can on top of your right. Mine don't quite line up. Eventually, hopefully they do. But the big thing here is to keep both butt cheeks in contact with the ground, so we don't want to lose our grounding connection, trying to get more stretch here. So once you're settled, both butt cheeks on the ground, your toes can point off to the sides of your mat, and you'll start to feel, just like the figure 4 in the beginning, it really starts to open up your outer hip, glute area. So if this is good right here, go ahead and stay here. If you want to add some upper body stretching, bring opposite arm, so in this case right arm, up and behind, and reach behind with your left hand, seeing if you can grab your fingers together behind your back. I'm almost there, not quite. One thing I'll also do is grab a hold of my shirt or my sports bra and use that to anchor me here. If this feels good and you want to continue going further, you can start to lean forward here, and this will really start to get into your outer hip, glute area. Wherever you are, breathe here. Inhale, come back up, unwind your legs, shake them out if you want to, and move to the opposite side. So left knee comes down, about straight in front of you. Right knee stacks over top, lining them up as best you can. And again, more important than lining up your knees is keeping your connection to the ground, so make sure your right butt cheek stays on the ground. And once you're settled here, toes can point out to the sides. And again, if this is more than enough, stay here. If this is too much, you can start to lean back and bring your feet back in a little bit. If you want to add your arms, this time left arm comes up and behind, right arm reaches behind to try to find your left hand. I'm nowhere close on this side, so it might be the same for you. One side may be much better or much worse. And again, same option here to lean forward. Start to feel this really getting into your right butt cheek, right outer hip. Inhale, start to come back up and unwind. And send your feet long on your mat, shake them out. Arms come up parallel to the mat, and slowly, with outsides or insides of your feet, and draw the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. If you want to tone this down a little bit, you can reach for your hamstrings instead. You can rock side to side here. If you want more of a hamstring stretch, you can straighten out one leg or both legs at the same time. And inhale, curl up into the tiniest ball possible, squeezing every muscle you can. And exhale, Savasana. Send your legs long on your mat, toes slaying out, arms by your sides, palms facing up. Shimmy your shoulder blades underneath you. And rest here. So as always with these videos, I will leave you here. Feel free to spend as long as you would like in Savasana. And let me know how this goes. I'd love to hear feedback, any questions you have. So hit me up, message me. I am always here. So other than that, thank you so much for doing this with me. I bow to you and say,